Hi, it's Dr. John from Vibrant Life Health Center. We are live, and we have a very exciting topic and some very exciting things happening this evening on this live Facebook event. And so I'm very excited to bring some of this information to you. There's a lot of questions that have been asked and formulated kind of what we're doing tonight to bring you the information. If you're watching this live and you have questions, put them down there and we will make sure that we address those questions and answer those as properly as possible for you. Again, this will be on replay too, so if you couldn't get to it today or tonight, you can actually also watch it after the next couple days. So it'll be up for you to watch and get that information, or if you want to watch it again, that's going to be available too. So you have those things. And I know that we've talked a lot about on our social media about the $50 gift card that's being given away, and that's exciting stuff, especially during this time. And there's going to be information on that as we cover that, but there's going to be a link put down below in this Facebook live feed that you can go to a Google application or a Google sign up, and you want to make sure you sign that and get that done so that you can be entered in to get that free $50 gift card, because it's some really exciting things that are happening here around the holidays and you want to do that. So what we're talking about tonight is we're talking about fad diets, weight loss programs, and simply really why doesn't weight loss and why don't these programs really work? Why do they fail? And that's really the big question, because the big complaint that we have from a lot of our patients is they come in and they say, I can't lose the weight at all, or I lose it, but I just can't keep it off. And there's some really big reasons for that. And we have to take a look and say, what overall is happening in your body and through your system to make it so that you're not unsuccessful. A lot of the programs and a lot of the methods that are out there are focusing on some very small components of this bigger system that I'm going to talk about tonight. And that is, they might do calorie control, or they focus entirely on the diet. And so ultimately you have a component that you're looking at through this program, but you're not truly making an impact on how to make this system work properly and give it long-term success and set it up for a foundation of long-term success, which is a huge component. Because if you're doing just calorie control, if you're doing just food structure, controlling the foods that you're putting in your body, or if you're doing, even another problem would be medications, they're all card tricks to the system. And the system I'm talking about is your metabolism. It controls everything in the body. So when we talk about trying to transform how your body is functioning in relationship to weight control, for example, it's going to be a problem because it's a card trick. And one of two things happen when we talk about that main problem, which is not being able to lose weight, or losing it and not being able to keep it off. And that is that either A, your body is so innately intelligent that it's already figured the card trick out and it just goes around it. It doesn't even allow it to affect it. And so when you're doing the calorie control or the medications, your body just simply goes right around that. It stays in the state that it's in, which is out of balance, and it continues to roll into a fat storage mode rather than really getting back into balance. And that's a component that happens just simply because it's figured out the trick and it's not going to work. A lot of times this happens when people try the same program over and over and over again and don't get great results, but they yet still try it again and again. The results get worse and worse, and eventually it stops working completely. That's not what you want to have happen when you're looking to 2018 and the exciting things that you have for you. The other reason would be that you can't keep it off. And that's another component, because that card trick has been able to successfully trick the system. But again, you're controlling it from the outside in, whether that be from the calorie control and the calorie restriction, or some type of a card trick medication or something like that, or point counting and those types of things. When you're doing those types of systems, you can get short-term success because the card trick worked and it adapted or changed the system for a few moments or a short time period. And then afterwards, when the card trick is over and your body goes back into function again, where you're going back into eating your normal diet structure and living the normal life that you live, your body goes right back into imbalance again, and all the weight comes back, and sometimes plus more, because when you do these types of systems, you're truly teaching your body how to become a better fat storer as opposed to becoming a better fat burner. And that's really what it's about. So when you look at the number on the scale, for example, when I talk about this huge weight system that we're talking about looking at a number on a scale. And that tells you a lot more than just whatever the pounds are on that scale, because there's a composition that's made up to make that number. It's not just some type of a lead ball that's going onto that screen, onto the scale. It's something made up of your body, and it involves a weight set point that your hypothalamus controls. That's yet another reason why people yo-yo diet, is because during that course of your life and your body's control system, it monitors the weight system, and it monitors the weight, and it sets an ideal weight. So if you are, like, for example, a 200-pound individual, and you go into an office or a program and you lose 50 pounds and you get really excited, and all you do is the loss phase of that program, then what's going to happen is your body has a weight set point. Your hypothalamus will naturally take you back up to the weight that you were at. And this is the same type of system that we're talking about that works on controlling blood pressure and making sure it's 120/80, or controlling glucose at 100 or less, or controlling body temperature. It's the same type of thing, because your body controls homeostatic health. And these things like blood pressure, body temperature, cholesterol, glucose, and weight are a big part of that control system. Those are just some finite examples of major things that we control, and typically all of us here watching this, if not ourselves, have someone in our lives that have an imbalance and their body is not controlling its homeostatic health optimally. And that's really what we want to do, is figure out what's going on and how to address that. But that is why we see failure, is because we don't look at the entire system as a whole. We actually simply look at a component, or throw a card trick in there to try to fix and manipulate the system to get the result that we're ultimately desiring to be at. And that's one of the big things. And so, we don't look at things like that body composition I was talking about. Weight set point is one of them. When we take a look at fat structure in the body, there's different types of fats in the body. Some are very good for you, some are actually not good for you. Two of the major ones that we always discuss is, one is adipose fat, or abnormal fat. This is the stuff that we talk about that's hips, thighs, buns, spare tires, love handles. It's the unsightly fat that's on the outside of your body. And this component makes up a lot of why people want to try to change the structure and the health of their bodies. The other actually fat that we talk about is a much more dangerous fat. It's a visceral fat rating. And so when you talk about a visceral fat rating, this is the fat that's wrapped around your core organs. And it's the dangerous stuff. This is what's going to create things like heart disease, cardiovascular disease, strokes. Some strokes are related to that. Diabetics, type 2 diabetics have a huge issue with this type of a fat structure. And there's been studies recently released even from Harvard that actually identify this fat as being a seed or a starting point for some cancers to grow. It is not good stuff to have on your body, and there's standards that we want to follow to make sure that you are at your optimum state, which is very important. So that's a component of it. Your metabolic age and cellular hydration are two other very important parts of what makes up that number on the scale. So when we take a look at that, many times when you do a program out there, when we're talking about yo-yo dieting and fad diets, a lot of those systems out there, they actually show that you lose water and you lose muscle, and you actually don't burn fat or lose fat at all. You may dehydrate it a bit, but you don't really lose it. And that's really a big difference when you talk about a successful type of a program versus an unsuccessful type of a program. And why we see failure out there is because we're truly not getting the body into the state that it needs to be in, because we're not addressing, what are the problems in this system. And this system that I'm talking about is your metabolism. And that metabolism is made up of organs and hormones and neurotransmitters and a lot of different biomarkers and different components that work together to balance fat burn and fat storage, just like it works to monitor and control high blood pressure, low blood pressure, where there's systems in control. And this is a very important component to think about when you look at the number on a scale, that there's a lot of things that happen. And there's different things in different phases that you're going to go through when you're on a program. One of the reasons so many people stop a program is because they come to a point what we call a plateau. That plateau can simply be a point where your body's cellular structure starts to rehydrate. And although the scale isn't moving, you may be in a situation where you're still burning fat, you're still doing fantastic, but your body's rehydrating, which is a really good thing because the cells are getting more water, they're getting able to do more things and faster cycles. So you continue fat burn. It's just a matter of it affects the scale, because fat burn is a loss on the scale, Rehydration is an addition on the scale, and they wash out. And so there's times when people say, I'm not losing as fast as I used to. Or I have a lot of people in our office that come in and they say, I'm not losing on the scale, but I am losing inches and my clothes are starting to not fit. That is typically what we see when we're in rehydration states of a program that we have. And so there's a lot of different things that add up to the BCA, or what we call body composition of your body, and what relates to the number on the scale. In addition, understanding this entire system and why they fail is a huge issue, because we want to make sure that you are successful in the journeys going ahead, to make sure that you have what you need to not fail, to not have another system that loses temporarily and then you gain even more back. Those are not the goals. And when that happens, those are big red flags that there's still something really wrong in the body, and there's some imbalances that are still in place, and we've got to take a look at that. Because the metabolism is what really controls this system. It's part of the glands, it's part of the organs, it has a lot to do, and we have been trying to trick it for so long with calories and exercise, all very good things and components of a system, but not ultimately the key, or as we say, the magic bullet to change and transform your health. It takes a complete approach, and that's ultimately how it affects the entire body and how it affects your success, is because typically many people do card tricks. And 2018 is coming. New Year's resolutions are going to be a rampant. You're going to see a lot of different approaches, a lot of different opportunities, fad diets like crazy. And really, ultimately, you need to find out what's going to work for you, what's going to be the best thing for you in your structure and in your health to really lead you to the results and to optimal health. Because you want to make sure that that complete composition I talked about during the process. One of the programs that we have is Body and Balance, and many of our patients, as they go through and rebalance that metabolism, reset that homeostatic control system, what happens is their body goes through a transformation where they see fat burning off of all the areas I talked about, the visceral and the adipose, and they see things like metabolic age drop and get younger and younger, which is a very good thing. Cellular hydration increases. So there's a lot of great things that happen from these types of programs that are out there, but you want to make sure that the right measurements are being made, that the right compositions and specifics to you are being made. We utilize technology in our office that helps identify where your body has incoherences and where your body has imbalances, so that our program can be curtailed specifically to you. And that's what you want to have whenever you do a program, is you want to make sure that it is specific to you. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all, a box of great supplements. Here you go, here's a bunch of bars, here's some shakes. Those things can get short-term success at best, but when you go the long-term, if you haven't really transformed how the body works, this metabolism, these homeostatic control systems, and bring things back to a state of balance, then we're going to have problems, because we live in a time where the foods that you eat, the liquids that you drink, the air that you breathe, the environment of work and family, all these things create a load on your system, what we call an allosteric load, a stress on the system. And the effect of this is wild and rampant. For example, when we use a liver, for example, that's toxic and not functioning properly, a lot of people can have a situation where they go into the doctor and they have blood testing done and they find that their thyroid readings are out of balance, and then they start going on a thyroid medication to bring that back into balance. Well, many people don't understand that it's the liver and the digestive tract that actually convert those thyroid readings to the proper levels. And without those things functioning properly, with the liver that's toxic and not functioning properly, or a digestive tract that has some issues, that's not going to lead to the proper conversion state, and it's going to lead to having the thyroid improperly function as well. So the problem with the thyroid, hypo or hyper, or whatever the case may be, could be just because the glandular systems and the detoxification systems and the digestive tract, all of these things in the body are not functioning properly and in balance, and they're affecting how that system works. That example can fall right into how the body burns fat. Because if you don't have the organ structures that are supporting it, if you don't have the hormone imbalances or imbalances that support it, the neurotransmitters, the biomarkers, if you don't have these components balanced and in the proper state, then you're not going to have a situation where you're going to have long-term success and major health transformation. And that's really what the ultimate goal is. So that's the information that we really want to talk about when you sit down and talk about with someone about a program that you want to enter into, whether it be in this New Year's resolution or whether it be somewhere later down the road. You want to make sure you're asking the right questions. You want to make sure you're sitting down and then everything is really specific about your body, your metabolism, and how your body is working. And that's truly, when we talk about our Body and Balance program, it is specifically made for the person that we put it together for. The program that we uniquely put together involves complete supplement packages that are made specifically to address their needs that we detect in their bodies. Nobody has the same program. And that's ultimately what you want to make sure you have in yours. We utilize so many different aspects. We have blood testing programs. We have so many different ways that we can really shift and transform how your body is working so we can find that long-term success and find the reasons why you have imbalance. Another key piece of information is looking at disruptive foods. There is another very important concept that we talk about when we talk about why diets fail and why they're successful. And that is because many times there's things that you eat and it really imbalances your metabolism. So the concept is to really understand how your metabolism relates to what you're bringing into the system, whether it be food, beverage, whether it be medications is another huge issue that can really shift how the metabolism is working. So there's a lot of key information. Nutrition is a major component. Calories, another component. Exercise can be another component. But truly, the big piece of the puzzle is balancing the metabolism and making sure that the system is running properly so that it can balance fat burn and fat storage if you're looking for weight control. It can balance high blood pressure issues. It can balance challenges with cholesterol. These are major things that if your system is running the best that it can possibly be, you have the best chance at getting successful at monitoring and managing this inside your body rather than having to do it from the outside in with a medication, with supplementation, with all types of things that are really intended to really shift and trick the system where you want to really bring balance, bring life, and bring light into a situation that's not leading down a path that has ultimate goal and quality of life in it. And that's ultimately what we want to do. So our solution is our Body and Balance and our Life and Balance programs. But if you're out there and you're watching this from a different state, from a different thing, here's the cool news, is that our Body and Balance and our Life and Balance programs can reach you. We have patients across the globe and doing these programs, and they're getting great results. We can actually include you in that. It's very simple. We run the program here from our office, and we contact you via phone and do all types of things via live phone conversations and remote sessions, and we do some great things with people all across the globe, and we can really help you in your situation to find that specific program for you and the specific needs that you have so that your metabolism can be transformed as well. So again, that's the big thing about this program is making sure that you get the right things you need, you transform your metabolism, you shift how things are working. If you have any questions about what I've talked about, make sure you put them down below, and we are going to make sure that we answer every one of them, and we will get to you, get them answered, address any needs that you may have, and provide you with the opportunity for success. Have a great night.